guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to another closer look at a CD box set and unboxing because I received a parcel in the post whilst I was away visiting the lad, and I ordered this, I think actually when I was away with him, and it's here when I arrived back. And this is a box set of Blondie. Now, Blondie is an American sort of post-punk band that were quite popular in the sort of probably late 70s and throughout the 80s, and they had a major hits and stuff like that here in the UK and obviously in America, fronted by Deborah Harry. And we had our similar artist to Blondie in the UK was Kim Wilde. She was quite similar in a lot of ways. She sort of sold herself onto the Blondie sort of look and image and music sound. But yeah, she's a sort of, people class it as punk. I say it's more post-punk because she has more of a pop feel to the sound, and even on some albums there's tracks there's even a bit of a disco kind of feel to some of the tracks. But yeah, really cool artist, very well established, well known, very artistic and very cool in a lot of ways. And so I don't have anything by Blondie. I used to own an album of hers called Parallel Lines back in the 80s, but that's long gone. So this is a box set sort of covering the most important part of her career, I think. So let's not waste any time. Let's have a deep down look at Blondie. So here we are, guys. Here is the package. I've not opened it yet, so we'll open it together for the first time. I've just unsealed it. So it's cool. You can see where I've done my knife. Right, so it's the wrong, oh, sorry guys, wrong way round. So we turn it around and we can open it together. Wow. So there we go. It's a nice big 12-inch size box. Extremely heavy. Try and get it out of the box. Oh yeah, that's really heavy. Let me move the box out the way and we'll pop the box set down. And there it is, there's the box set. So let's have a little look to see what it says on the front. This is called Blondie Against the Odds, 1974 to 1982. So it's got the first 6 albums plus rarities, remastered from the original analog tapes. 125 tracks from the classic era, spread across 8 CDs, featuring 36 unreleased bonus tracks, and includes a 128-page book. Very cool, very nice. Great artwork in the sort of silvery kind of image. And on the back we have the contents of what's in the box. We've got 6 classic albums on CD, but bonus tracks and remastered from analog tapes. Includes the albums Blondie, Plastic Letters, Parallel Lines, Eat the Beat, Auto American and The Hunter. 2 bonus CDs of period demos, outtakes, studio gold, synth experiments, air checks and home recordings, and a book. So that sounds pretty cool. And we've got our made in Czechoslovakia sticker, so we will try and preserve any stickers as we can. So I just need to get into the actual box set itself. So there we go. That's all we had to do. So we will just remove this packaging. It's like a J card by the looks of it, this cover. I believe they've also released like a 3 or 4 CD box set similar to this, which obviously won't have everything in it, whereas this does. Yeah, this is a J card, which is quite irritating. I thought that was actually built onto the box, which would have been nicer. So we'll just pop that there for a second. So yeah, it's got a J card. This is actually a J card, this back, so it is removable, as you can see, and it has all different images on there. So what we're going to do, we're going to place on the actual box the Made in Czechoslovakia, and these have like different photographs from the band there. So let's take out the content from the box. Very, very tight. That is very tight. Oh, I'm gonna struggle getting that back in, I think, but there we go. So that is the actual content inside. Let me put the box aside for the moment. Let's make sure we have all of this on the screen, so we can open it. And there we go. So we start off here with the first albums of Blondie. We've got Out in the Streets, which is obviously her debut album. Contains the track Out in the Streets, the disco song, which I believe is the original version of Heart of Glass. Sexy Ida, Platinum Blonde, The Thin Line, Puerto Rico, Once I Had a Love, and Out on the Streets. These are all from 1974 to 1975. And it comes on the Chrysalis label. Never heard this, so this is one that I'm really interested in hearing, because I've never heard this album. Next up is, I believe, this one. Let's see if I get them in the right order. Let's have a little look. I want to look at the albums in the right order if we possibly can. So I'm wondering if that's actually I don't actually think that's an album. I think that's the bonus tracks on there. I think that's early bonus tracks. I think this is the first album. This one here called Blondie. Deborah Harry there. There's Clem. I've met Clem a couple of times. Really nice chap. Unfortunately, he's passed away now. He's the drummer of the band. So this is her debut album, and it has the tracks on here: Ex-Offender, Little Girl Lies, In the Flesh, Look Good in Blue, In the Sun, A Shark of Jet Clothing, Man Overboard, Rip Her to Shreds, and Rifle Range. And I believe I think the rest might be extra tracks, but Kung Fu Girls and The Attack of the Giant Ants also might be the album tracks. And then I think we have bonus tracks of Ex-Offender intro, Ex-Offender private stock single, In the Sun private stock single, Little Girls Lie private stock single, In the Flesh, A Shark in Jet Clothing's take 2, Kung Fu Girls take 8, and Scenery track 3. And the lineup on this album is Deborah Harry vocals, Chris Stein on guitar bass, and Gary Valentine on bass guitar, Clement Burke on drums, and James Desiree on organ, piano, keyboards, synthesizers. Very cool. Again, I'm looking forward to this. This is the stuff I'm looking forward to hearing. Really early stuff. And again, we've got the nice Chrysalis label. These, I like the CD settings. I really like these. This is available on vinyl as well, this box set. Very cool. Next up is Plastic Letters. I remember this. I remember seeing this in FL Moores in Stevenage. I never bought the album, but I remember quite liking the cover. I say I've only owned one Blondie album, which was that one. So these are all new to me. So these are all going to be first time listens. All I know is that I quite like Blondie. I do like her music. I think it's very, very cool. Or their music. Because Blondie, because everyone thinks, oh, look, it's Blondie. No, it's not. The band's called Blondie. She's Deborah Harry. It's an easy mistake. I make that mistake a lot. But yeah, really cool, sort of iconic kind of cover for early Blondie album. And again on this one, we've got the same lineup: Chris Stein, Deborah Harry, Clement Burke, and James Desiree again. So pretty much the same lineup. I think we're one member down, are we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so they've lost a member there. Chris Stein is doing guitar and bass, so they've lost their bass player, I think, there. And the tracks on this one are Fan Mail, Denise, Bermuda Triangle Blues, Youth Nabbed a Sniper, Contact in Bed Square, Presence Dear, I'm on E, oh dear, I Didn't Have the Nerve to Tell You No, Love at the Pier, and New Generations, Kidnapper, Detroit, and Cautiously Lip. And it's got extra tracks of Denise, Terry Ellis Mix, Moonlight Drive, Bermuda Triangle, Flight 45 Take 1, I Didn't Have the Nerve to Say No Take 1, I'm on E Take 2, Kidnapper Take 2, Detroit 442 Take 2, and Poet's Problem. So it does have the single track on there of Denise, and this one's on a sort of pink kind of label. Very nice. Then we've got Parallel Lines. This was the album that I did own from Blondie. I think this is about 79, I think. I can't remember the year. Might be even 80, but I think it's late 70s. And the lineup here, she's increased the band here. Now we've got Nigel Harrison joining on bass guitar, and Frank Infinite also on guitar has joined our original lineup. And this one's on the red label. I'm trying to see if it gives the actual year of release. It might do in the book. So anyway, the track listing for Parallel Lines is Hanging on the Telephone, One Way or Another, Picture This, Fade Away and Radiate, Pretty Boy, I Know But I Don't Know, 11:59, Will Anything Happen, Sunday Girl, Heart of Glass, and I'm Gonna Love To. Just Go Away is the album tracks. And you got the extra tracks of Once I Had the Love, Sunday Girl French version, I'd Never Break Away from This Heart of Mine, Pretty Baby, Hanging on the Telephone, Mike Chaplin demo, and Will Anything Happen instrumental. So it has quite a few of her singles on there: Hanging on the Telephone, One Way or Another, Picture This, Sunday Girl, and Heart of Glass. So out of the 12 tracks, 5 of those were singles. So you can see why that was a popular album. Again, another very iconic cover. I was in love with Deborah Harry. Who wasn't? But because she was stunning back then. She was sort of like a real sort of just really, really cool. So before we get to the book, I think we should jump to the back and go through the last albums that we have in this set. So we have Eat to the Beat, another iconic album which I remember seeing about very 80s, that cover though, with this sort of thing. This was always an 80s sort of image. So this was really popular in the 80s. The track listing on this album is Dreaming, The Hardest Part, Union City Blues, Shayla, Eat the Beat, Accidents Never Happen, Die Young, Stay Pretty, Slow Motion, Atomic, Sound Asleep, Victor, Living in the Real World, and Call Me. And it's got the bonus tracks of the Spaghetti Song, Atomic Part 2, Die Young, Stay Pretty, Take 1, Underground Girl, Union City Blues instrumental, and La Mamie. So there are the tracks on there. So you got the singles on there: Dreaming, Union City Blues, and Atomic, and Call Me. So again, 4 hit singles of this on a nice blue. Really nice. I like that. I think this is going to be early 80s, this one. Very cool. Now this one here, which I think is called, is it Auto American? Yeah, Auto American. Again, another sort of iconic kind of image of the album. I don't think this is one of her popular albums. A lot of people say, yeah, it's okay, but I've never heard it. Like I said, I've only had Parallel Lines. I bought Parallel Lines, but my music taste was more into British sort of post-punk and stuff like that. So I very rarely delved into American music. Blondie and the Talking Heads were, I think, the only two sort of bands that I really appreciated at the time that came out of America. Well, this is going to be hard to read. Okay, I'll try my best. The tracks are Europa, Live It Up, Here Comes, Here's Looking at You, The Tide is High, Angel on the Balcony, Go Through It, Do the Dark, Rapture, Faces, T-Bird, Walk Like Me, Follow Me, Auto American Ad, and I Love You Honey, Give Me a Beer. And it has the extra tracks of Live It Up, Giorgio Moroder demo, Angels on the Balcony, Giorgio Moroder demo, The Tide is High demo, Susie and Jeffrey, and Rapture disco version. Because I remember Rapture and I always thought that's got a little bit of a Bowie feel to it. That's nice. I don't know why, I just thought it had a bit of a Bowie feel to it. It reminded me of like sort of things like Fame and stuff like that. And I just thought, yeah, so it's pretty cool. So yeah, not the most popular Blondie album, I don't think, but again, I will give that a blast and give it a go. Hunter. Now again, I've never heard this one. I've never even heard of it. Blondie going for a bit of a Toya look there from Thunder in the Mountains. So yeah, nice cover. A bit different for Blondie. But yeah, the tracks on this are Orchid Club, Island of Lost Souls, Dragonfly, For Your Eyes Only, The Beast, War Child, Little Caesar, Dance Away, I Can Find the Right Words, English Boys, The Hunter Gets Captured by the Game, and Your Tide Throw Down. And I know absolutely no tracks on that album, so that will be interesting to listen to. So this is probably one of the latter part of this one, in a nice sort of purple. So I don't know any tracks on there. It doesn't seem to have any bonus tracks on there. So this is the second bonus track. The first one is on the other side there. And these are the home tapes. And it has Nameless, My Sight Sit, Sunday Girl home tape, theme from Top Cappy. The Hardest Part, Ring of Fire, Heart of Glass, Chris Sticks Mix, Call Me Chris Stein Mix, Call Me Chris Stein Mix, and War Child Chris Stein Mix. So these are just different sort of mixes of some alternate tracks that are on the other albums in a kind of light brown and silver imagery there. So that is the CDs that you get in the set. So let's have a look through the book. Hopefully we've still got all this on screen. And we do. Lovely. I just have to check because I've got the camera quite high. I have to make sure we've still got it on there. So this is like an early advert for Blondie performing at Boomp Records in North Hollywood. Again, imagery spoilt by this thing, but there we are. DNA. This looks like it's going to be an essay with some sort of like art, pop art kind of style. I can make a long list of things I would do differently, but if I were actually thrown back in there, I'd probably do it all the same. Debbie Harry. So this is obviously an essay about the band, probably a bit of history behind the band. Then we're going through disc by disc. A breakdown of the tracks, who's played on it, where it was recorded, who's engineered it, who's produced it. Very in depth. Again, lovely image, but spoilt by this rubbish kind of production of the book. I hate stuff like that. It fucks me off. Just put the picture on one page, you know, so we can enjoy it. You can't enjoy that. See, this is better when it's like that. So you could have put that picture like that. And instant production. This is by Richard Gotera. Maybe he's some form of manager. Okay, so Blondie's quite new to me, so I've only heard like Parallel Lines was the only album I ever heard of hers. But I know that I've heard some of the other tracks like Call Me, Atomic and all that, and I love all of that stuff. And I knew her career before that was a bit more punkier, which I'm really interested in hearing. And I've got this box set at a good price. See, you can do the picture on one page, which is so much better. This is what people want to see. They don't want to see a picture across 2 pages that you can't make it out. Again, another picture ruined, see? Another picture ruined. And they're great photos, the great pictures of the band. But they've been ruined because just the way that the people who made this book have set it up. Is that Blondie with Lemmy over there? Or Debbie Harry, sorry. So this is the debut album, 1976. So she was about before sort of like the punk scene sort of kicked in and sort of like, so yeah, I guess that's why they've been classed as a punk band. But to me, they'll always be like a post-punk band. They just had that sound to me. They're a bit more melodic than punk was. Not as anarchic as a lot of punk bands. Some pictures of some early singles there. It's very cool. Oh, we have different covers from early tracks and early singles. And I think that's probably why people think, oh, there's Blondie, because when they did their covers, it was pretty much her with Blondie written on it. And I think that's why people get sort of like, well, actually, it's the whole band's called Blondie. This is about plastic letters. That we got a negative reaction was better than none at all. Great picture. There's Clem. I like that picture. Very cool. Just do the pictures like that, see? You can fit the whole picture on one page. So much better. Here's some great images. I have been looking for a really decent Talking Heads box set, but can't find one anywhere. There is a couple of box sets out of like single albums, but yeah, I would like one that covers more of their albums, to be honest. I do have some of their albums, but it would be good to get a box set like this that sort of covers the main part of the career. So this is Plastic Letters, which was released in 1977. Great imagery again. Possibly from the same shoot, because she seems to be wearing the same dress there. Debbie does. Then we have variant single covers for Denise and etc. Because different countries release different tracks as singles. In the UK, Denise was the UK single off the album. Against the Odds. So we've got like another essay there by Mike Chapman, with some nice sort of imagery there on the sort of grey kind of imagery, which is quite nice. I like that. Parallel lines. If everything had been lovey-dovey, the music might have been different. This is when they became huge in the UK. It was from this album. Really nice imagery. Just wish it was just a slightly smaller and brought over a bit more, but that's a nice picture. So you can see they've expanded the band with 2 new members in the band now. Again, image ruined. Great picture of Debbie there. She looks wonderful. She was so photogenic. I'm talking like she's not with us anymore. She's still with us. Again, great picture, ruined. Just move it over. Look, there's space there. You could have fit it all on one page. Would have looked better. And there's the classic album cover. That was released in 1978, so I was right, it is late 70s. I remember, that's what it used to look like on the jukebox. Do you remember you'd have your jukebox, Blondie, A-side, B-side? That's what that reminds me of. But it was strange because like that obviously single, she had one way or another and Just Go Away on the B-side, which were both on the album. Which, back in the day, stuff like that used to pee me off because I was thinking, oh, why can't the B-side just not be on an album? Just so it's like you got an extra track, you know. But a lot of bands used to do that. They used to get like an A-side and a B-side. Both tracks would end up on the album. But I'm supposing if you were recording the album and you don't have any other songs that you think would fit well, I guess that's what you do, I suppose. But this is going into an interview with the band about the tracks. So this is one thing I do like about this, is, again, Heart of Glass 1159 was a track from the album. So you could buy probably the 5 singles and get the whole album without actually buying the album. All this is all from like members of the band and stuff like that, and then talking about the actual recording of these albums and the songs. Very cool. I like that. So this has got band input. That's what I'm saying. It's really, really cool. There we have some typed out lyrics. And there we have some of the single covers. See if I recognise any of those. Picture this looks familiar. I don't remember the cover looking like this for hanging on the telephone, but there again, I didn't buy the single. That looks more familiar to me. Oh, we do have the releases here. Yeah, that's why. That is the UK release. That's why I recognise that one. And that picture, that's UK release. So the 2 I recognise were the 2 that I remember seeing. Isn't that weird? The rest are sort of like South African, Australian, US. I remember that cover. I bought that single, Sunday Girl. That must be the UK one. Sunday Girl, yeah. With the French, it's the UK version, yeah. So I remember that cover. I didn't buy Heart of Glass. did have Heart of Glass on the album. The more successful we were, the less we saw of each other, which I think happens with most bands, mate, when you get big. So we're going to be now on to Eat to the Beat, which was the follow-up to Parallel Lines. Another great picture, but ruined. Great picture, but ruined. Now here's the album, which was 1979. So I thought it looked 80s to me, but it is 79. Yes, but I bet it came out late 79. And again, once again, we have input from some of the band members. I don't remember any of those single covers. That's the one we had in UK, that one. That's German, that's UK. Yeah. I remember that one as well. That's definitely a UK release as well. Giorgio Moroder, because obviously he done some input on this album. We've an advert there of the Richard Gere film, American Gigolo. Picture of Giorgio Moroder with the band talking about Call Me. I do remember seeing that cover about. Heroes. Well, this cover version, maybe Bowie song, I don't know. We took the path of the Beatles. Everywhere, every idea was different. So this is the next album, Auto American, which wasn't really a big hit here in the UK. Might well have been in America. Nice imagery there, but it didn't really do nothing here in the UK. A couple of singles, Tide is High, which was quite popular. Rapture. More input from the band about each individual song, about recording of each song on the album. Very cool. Different single covers. Remember that one. And I remember that one. And then we are with Debbie Harry on making magazine covers across the world there. The Hunter, never heard this one at all. It's still a mystery as to why this whole thing fell apart. We'll find out when I listen to it. Nice picture. Again, they've done the right thing, put it on one page. And there we have the album. I don't know any songs from this album. War Child may have been a single. Some single covers. Now we're going on to the extra tracks, the home tapes. Nice picture of Debbie there, looking in a very, do a bit of a tidy up. But there we go. My room looks like that sometimes. And then we have all the sources from this booklet, from where they got the interviews and all this kind of thing, pictures, photographs. So all the photographs sort of like sources are on here, And here's a breakdown of every album again, which is a bit, don't need this because they've kind of done it, but it's still nice to have it because you've got all the extra tracks and stuff like that that are down on here. The photo credits, lovely picture of Debbie there. Getting near the end now, Against the Odds. So this is the Blondie Nation, goes through the lineup of the band and about the different mixes, the remastering, or the notes that were put into this book and this set, and it ends with a lovely picture of Debbie there looking very cute. And then we're back to the CDs at the back of the book. So that is the entire contents of this box set. We'll try our best to pop this back into this box, but it was very, very, very tight. I need to try and hook each bit in, so bear with me, guys. That went in a bit easier than I thought it would. So that is a close look at Blondie Against the Odds, 1974 to 1982. So there we go, guys. Just a close look at the Blondie box set, Against the Odds. A very hefty book. Very nice set. Very, very cool. I'm going to really enjoy delving into the world of Blondie. Like I said, I had Parallel Lines as an album. I had a few singles. I bought Sunday Girl. I had Tide is High and a couple of other singles from her. Denise I had, but I didn't have much. And this is why this one intrigued me, this box set, because I'm thinking, it's all well and good buying box sets, but isn't it good sometimes to buy box sets of an artist that you know work of, but don't know everything? So you got something new to learn and indulge in. So that's why this box really sort of like appealed to me. And I got it for quite a good price. I think I got it for about 55, something like that, and it does go for normally around about £100, something like that, which you can understand because it's got eight albums in it, 6 official albums and 2 albums of unreleased material, although they do seem quite thin on the ground. There's only 125 tracks in the whole set, which, wow, it's a lot. It's not really, when you think about it. If this is a career spanning, surely they've done more than 125 tracks. Negatives about the set. The photos, as you can tell, I was really pissed off with a lot of the photos because there's nice imagery in there, but it's spoilt by the way it's been laid out in the set. And as you saw in a lot of pages, they actually can fit the whole image on one page, so it's not spoilt. So when you get whole image on one page and a little bit on the second page with a big line down the middle, it takes it out of the photo. So whoever produced this, is it Universal? Sort your act out, all right? People pay a lot of money for these sets, so do it so they can enjoy it and indulge in it. Now, when I buy a set from other companies, say, like my Bonzo Dog Doodah band set, all the images are all done on individual pages. There's none sort of ruined by a middle, and that makes a lot of difference from enjoyment from the book. Because sometimes when I'm listening to music, when I'm listening to an album that period, I look at the imagery as well as read it, thinking, you know, this picture was taken around the time they were making this music, and I like to look at that and sort of like focus on it, and sort of like focus in my head, sort of putting the two together, and it works a lot for me. But when that does it, it takes it out of it, because I've got to bend the book back and forth, and it can sort of spoil the book, and I don't want to do that. The other thing, it's not necessarily negative, but would have been cool, a live album. She did do an album called Blondie at the BBC, which was recorded around this sort of period, which was live. I think, I can't remember where it was. I think it was somewhere like Lyceum or the Rainbow or something, and it was a live album. They could have put that in there, but that it's not. It's just all studio albums. So just adding a live album just gives you that extra dimension and experience to the band, because you think, yeah, they sound cool. on studio. I wonder what they were like live. So when you put live albums in there, it really does make it a lot more immersive, because you get to see what they're like live as well as in the studio. But it's not in there, but that's cool. Apart from that, it's fantastic. It's a really cool box set. I love the way it's set out. Really highly produced. One more little negative, which you know it's going to be, is this. J card. Don't do them. Guys, don't do them. Because it's just pointless. Just pointless. Just make it a part of the cover. Or if you do put a J card, stick it on both sides. You know, just a bit of whatever you've used to stick it down on this side, on the front, a bit like transparent glue. Stick it on the bottom. I know, because you've got imagery on the back, people might want to see that. Then just do that. Then, you know, and put the information on a band, like if I can think of it, the Beatles anthology set, the box set just came out. It was like a band you could put on and take off, and it doesn't ruin anything. It stays on nice. But over time, with these J cards, they all get sort of corners get bent up, they get a bit torn, they look tatty. Yeah, it's just things like that. Just take that off, because it takes it away from the product, because this is a great high quality, amazing product. I mean, they've put a lot of effort into it, the company. We have some great imagery on here, you know, all done on sort of silvery sort of foil based imagery. Looks really, really nice, really classy, really nice set. And then you stick a J card. I would rather get a card, you know, don't have a J card, just have a piece of cardboard inserted in the box that you pull out with it, and it has that information on it. Yes, you can probably take this off and fold it and put it into the box, but the book is so tight in there, it's not going to work unless you fold it and put it inside the book, and I don't really want to do that. But really cool set, really cool to have this in my collection. Who's this aimed at? Probably people like me that have enjoyed Blondie over the times and delved in, dipped their toe in, if you like. Well, like I said, if you will, I own the album Parallel Lines because I liked it. Had 4 or 5 recognisable singles on it, and it had such an iconic cover. Like every time I went in a record shop back in the early 80s and late 70s, that album cover was on display on the wall, and it was so striking with the black and white stripes, with the band in black suits and Blondie wearing a white dress. It was so iconic, and it was just so cool. I just thought, wow, this is great. And I liked Sunday Girl and stuff like that, and I loved Hanging on the Telephone. That was a really cool track. And I thought, yeah, I'm going to buy that album. And I remember buying it for about, I think it was only about £2.99 or £3.49, the vinyl back then. And I took it home and I loved it. I thought, this is really, really cool. But like I said, at that time, in the late 70s, I was into my British pub rock. So Dr. Feelgood and British rock like Thin Lizzy. And I was getting into things like Joy Division and all these sort of wonderful artists, Ian Jury and the Blockheads. And I wasn't really listening to any American music, very little American, and it's still the same today. I know it sounds weird, nothing against America. I just never really been into American sort of music. I always found it, I don't know, overproduced or too much of it. Like American rock, I never got into it. I suppose because of being from England and Britain, and we had our own British rock scene, I didn't need to. I never needed to discover anything like that. But now and again, an artist will come through, like Blondie, that I delve into, the Talking Heads, like I said to you, Mercury Rev, or another American band that I really appreciate. But very few that really sort of come to mind. But yeah, I love, because we had everyone. We had the Beatles, we had the Stones, we had Bowie, you know, we had Elton John, we had Pink Floyd, we had Deep Purple, we had Black Sabbath, we had all the great bands, Led Zeppelin. Why would I need to venture into anything that was coming from America? but I did with Blondie. Cheers, guys.